Sarah.
Hi there.
Hi there, you were Todd. I'll come off camera and you can start your interview.
Perfect. Hi, Todd. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Sarah?
I'm great, thank you. First of all, congratulations on an amazing film. I have to say, I absolutely loved it. It's
Thank,
phenomenal.
thank you.
Um,
Thank you.
I know we're quite limited on time, so I'll dive right in.
Okay.
I heard that you wrote her specifically for Kate Blanchett. Why was she your first and only choice?
She's someone that I had been in dialogue with many years ago about another project. And I was just struck by her uh, ability to talk about material outside
Mhm.
of the performance aspect. And I wanted to be in dialogue with her, deeply wanted to be in dialogue with her. I wasn't something that I considered when I was writing the script. It's sort of, she just kind of appeared and she refused to go away during the writing of the script.
Mhm.
She didn't know I was writing it for her, um, but I was. And so by the
Mhm.
time I finished the script, it was just unthinkable that it would be anyone else.
Mhm. And I suppose cancel culture and Me Too and abuses of power, these are issues that kind of plague all industries and all people across the world. But what prompted you to set it in the classical music world?
Well, I've been thinking about this character for a long time, and as you say, it is an examination of power. I didn't know if I'd ever be able to, I was adaptive material. I didn't know if I'd be able to do anything with her other than her living in a notebook or in a novella, short story, or a novel, if I ever had the chance to try to do something like that. But at the beginning of March 2020, during the pandemic, Peter Gajowski and Kiska Higgs at Focus Features came to me and said, we'd like to do a movie about classical music, with a
Mhm.
conductor. Do you have anything in mind? And I said, yeah, actually, there's this character that I've been thinking about. And I can't pitch it to you. And they said, just write whatever you want.
Mhm.
Um, so, so I did, and, uh, but essentially the film is, you've seen it. The film is
Yeah.
really an examination of what power does and how power works, um, and the complicity of power, the
Mhm.
omnidirectional nature of power, that it's not unidirectional. There's not one person sitting at the top of a pyramid uh, by their own means.
Mhm.
There are all kinds of people that sort of support people that we see in that spotlight.
Absolutely. And for me, the movie is a masterclass in creating atmosphere because there's this kind of mounting paranoia and it's quite subtle, but you can feel it growing throughout the film. And I found as a female viewer, particularly the running scenes, they were quite impactful. The scene where Lydia's in the park and she hears that screaming, like that's just a motive of such a particular type of fear. Um, what inspired those scenes?
Well, I think what you're talking about, I think that they're hitting you at a very specific point, because I think those are primordial fears.
Mhm.
Um, and in terms of the mounting paranoia, this is a character that things are starting to catch up with her. She's starting to feel that something's on her back.
Mhm.
So there's a question about what it is internally that's manifesting for her,
Mhm.
what truly is happening externally, and where do those two things, merge. And there's a sense of inevitability for her, that fate is arriving.
Mhm. So I suppose the running kind of implies that implicitly.
I think so. Also, it's a very lonely sort of run that she takes, and
Mhm.
it's in places that are wooded, in places that
Mhm.
feel like there's possibility for things that could be frightening.
Yeah. And I read in an interview that you said the Juilliard scene, it's a conversation starter about separating art from artists, but also about what you would say to your younger self. So I was just wondering, where do you stand on the matter of separating the two, and what would you say to your younger self?
I think I would say to my younger self, save 10 cents of every dollar you earn. Um,
Okay.
and you can have a much richer life, literally and figuratively. Someone gave me that advice and I didn't listen. That's the problem. You could go back and talk to your younger self and you would still never listen. But in terms of separating the art from the artist, I think, that, yes, that's an eternal question. And I think it's a question based in time,
Mhm.
which is, we're living in a period of time right now where the tempo in which we have to make decisions about this versus that is at the speed of light. And it's not a practical thing for us to sit there and really examine something, really look at something and not make snap decisions, because it's just that's the modern world, you know. But for us to go back in time and make decisions about separating an art form from the practitioner of it, I think is dubious at best, because we don't really, we have hearsay and we have innuendo and we have a lot of opinions that are collective opinions based on a set of facts that we have no control over. So that interests me, but I do think that there are clear sort of parameters to judge what's acceptable behavior and unacceptable behavior, for sure.
I think sadly we're out of time. I have so many more questions, but thank you so much for talking with me, and
thank you.
Yeah, congratulations again.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Sarah.